Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Monday View, so we're going to take a look at the Soucolor colored pencils. These are the 72 original Soucolors and not the 180 set that came out. The 180 set I do feel is a duplicate of all the other black barrel pencils that came out at the same time. Not a horrible pencil, but these ones are slightly different. These do have numbers on them, but they do not have color names on them. And they do go from 1 to 72, and that's the order that I have them in here. I will be going through at some point and rearranging them so that they're in color order. There's a few that bug me that drive me crazy, but I will go through at some point and rearrange them. Just haven't gotten there yet. So we have some great yellows. We have some pinks and some peach tones. Then we go into our oranges and our reds. Then we have some funky colors there that I don't believe should be there. I think this one should be down here with the red violets. This one should be with the greens. You know, different colors that are not where they should be. Then we have some blues and our greens. These two blues here I do believe should be at the end of this. And these greens here should be together. Then we have some gray colors and a gray green that should be down here. This one should be down here. And then we have some purples. The orange, of course, should be up in the oranges. And then we have some browns, as well as the gray and the black. So a lot of really great colors. A few, like I said, a few colors in places where I wouldn't put them. But like I said, this is in color order. I'm going to zoom you in a little bit. We're going to do our testing of these pencils. So hold on to yourselves. Let's see. I should have done this beforehand, but yeah. It's hot. My brain isn't working. So in we go. And turn that off. All right. Now hopefully, there we go. That's perfect. All right. So we're going to, of course, do our normal testing of these. So we're going to take our number 1 red, no, number 23, yeah, 22 or 23. Yeah, we'll use 23. And then we're going to take number 3 yellow and number 33 in the blue. And that should give us a good base to start off with. Okay, well, how did I manage that? I don't know how I managed it, but I've managed to put things in the wrong order here. So I will check in here again. There it is. I got 32 and 33 switched. All right, so we're going to start with our water test. I've got my water brush here, as well as the 3 pencils. So we're going to start off with our red. And as you can see, the colors lay down quite nicely. I've never had a problem with these coloring density. The pigment is quite nice. They are an oil-based pencil, so they do require some layering. But they are a little bit softer than most more expensive oil-based pencils. So Now these are very inexpensive. They're very budget friendly. And I do find that they color very well on coloring book paper as well as the Nina cardstock. So I do actually really like this set of pencils. It is one of the first sets that I started using in my coloring journey. I got these about 6 months or so after I started coloring because they were on sale and they were cheap. I don't use them as often as I should, but with as many colored pencils as I have, sometimes if they get used within the year, that's great. All right, so we've got our yellow down, and now for our blue. Now, if I do remember correctly with the colorings that I've done, these do move with water as well as with smudging. So you will probably want to be careful with them. I will verify that. I just can't remember if it was Winkostella or if it was a different paper. Or sometimes pencils will move if the paper is very smooth. Even really good pencils that are water resistant will move if it's really, really smooth paper. All right, so we've got our pencil on there, just removing any excess. Now, I'm going to make sure I don't have any color on here. We're going to move the red. And it does move a little bit. The yellow. And then the blue. And the blue moves a little bit as well. So the red and the blue, of course, those are our most pigmented colors, do move a little bit with the water. Now we're going to do the same thing here for the smudge test as well. Starting off with our red. Like so. I'm just going to build that color up so that it covers the same way I would with a colored page. Now the reason why I do this smudge test, as I probably have repeated so many times that you are tired of hearing it, is because I do tend to rub my hand back and forth this way. One sec. I had a tickle in my throat suddenly. I do tend to move my hand back and forth and pick up ink, pick up the pigment with my hand and smudge it all over the place if I don't have that knowledge to be cautious. Now the factor that these do move with water a little bit does tell me that they may smudge a little bit as well. I'm actually kind of surprised with how little they moved with water. Most of these lower cost pencils have a tendency to have a softer binder in it where it allows movement with water. Okay, just going to move that. And it's not too bad. Does move though, definitely does move. So it's not horrible, but it does move slightly. There is a slight little tinge of blue, yellow, and red on the smudge. So definitely would want to keep that in mind when coloring with your hand, like moving your hand across the paper. All right, now I'm going to do a 3-color blend, so I'm starting off with the darkest color here. And this one is number 15. I probably could have gone darker, but that's okay. Bringing it out, leaving the darkest area down here at the edge. I know it doesn't have to be perfect, it is just a test, but my brain says, yeah, that's not perfect, so do it a little better. All right, I'm just going to bring this out now for the tail. So this is what the next color is going to blend into. Just going to darken it up down here. And again, these are a oil-based pencil, so layering is just one of those things that happens with oil-based pencils. The more you layer, the better the color payout is going to be. All right, so the next color I'm going to use is number 13. I'm going to go into the tail. Like so. Again, layering that color up. And leaving a tail for the next color to blend into. The next color we're going to use is going to be number 10. Again, blending into that tail. And as you can see, the colors blend very nicely together. Just going to take the medium pink here. And we're just going to layer it up just a little bit more. Like so. And then the dark pink as well. There we go. So as you can see, they definitely do layer together quite nicely. Giving us that gradient 3-color blend. Moving from dark to light. Like so. All right, so definitely does do the blend. Let's do the rainbow blend now. Now this is going to go from red to yellow to blue. The red will become orange between the yellow and the red, and the blue will become green in between the yellow and the blue. So I'm just going to lay down a good layer of red here. And we're going to build the color up. We're going to leave a tail for the yellow to blend into. The tail is usually just one thin layer. Now because I've got the red down first, it will be a red-orange instead of a yellow-orange. However, depending upon how I layer it, I can make it into a yellow-orange. So we're just going to put this here for the blue to come into. Then we're going to do our yellow area. Then we're going to start blending into the red. And the reason why I do the yellow area first is because with blending into the red, the yellow will pick up some of that red color and drag it into the other area. And if I don't want it to do that into the blue, then I gotta start the yellow first. Just building up that color. Just the same way as I did with the red, with a few different layers. Now, if I go into the yellow with the red, we will have a brighter yellow orange instead of a red orange, which we have in the first area. Just fill in those lines. So definitely does do a red to orange. Now we're going to put in our blue. Building up that blue color. And then we're going to start going into the yellow. Again, same with the blue. The more yellow you add, the brighter the green. The more blue you add, the darker the green. I'll wipe off any red. And we're going to blend this in. Definitely does make green. So we definitely have our rainbow blend. All right, so now for our blender test. So we're going to test whether or not a blender will blend these colors together, or if looking for a specific set of colors. I'm not seeing them. Nope. This one. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to see if a blender will blend these colors together and create that seamless blend between the colors. or if it's better to use the pencils themselves. In my opinion, it's always better to use the pencils themselves. However, sometimes you don't want that dark color of overlapping and overlapping and overlapping. So sometimes it is better to use a blender, a colorless blender, to get your color, your blend without adding extra color. Oh, this one first. All right, so we're going to start with number 17. Now remember, your colorless blender is going to pick up the pigment and move it around to blend that together. So make sure that you have enough pigment for the blender to do that. If you don't have enough pigment down on your page for the blender to do that, it will not do it. So make sure that you have plenty of pigment down on the page to bring those colors together. Another thing a blender will do is it will help you fill in the white spot if your pencil is, or if your paper is really toothy and you're not getting that white spot filled in with the pencils that you are using. All right, now I'm going to use number 19, I think. I'm going to have to put the numbers on these because the numbers are starting to wear off a little bit. And if you get dust on your paper, don't worry about it until you're done, and then you can dust it off. Make sure that you use a dusting brush. Don't use your hand. Now I'm done with those colors. Now I'm going to go in with the yellow. Okay, so we have 2 oranges and a yellow. Now we're going to take our blender. So I'm going to use the Caran d'Ache blender because it's handy. Oh, and we'll see how this blends it. Hopefully it blends it fine. Just going to sharpen it a bit. Make sure I have all colors from the previous blend off of it. And then we're going to start from our light, moving into the next color. And then into our dark. Like so. Now I am finding that the Caran d'Ache isn't moving enough of the pigment from the medium tone into the light tone. So I'm not getting that connection that I would with the yellow. So now we're going to do the same blend and then we're going to use white. Now remember, if while you're using white, that the pigment is going to change color with adding the white color. unless your white is extremely translucent, which sometimes it won't change the color, it will just blend them together. Works pretty much the same as a colorless blender. But if it's opaque and pigmented, you will find that your colors will become a little bit duller. So be careful of that when using your white. All right. Just going to make sure I have enough pigment for the white to move. And then again, we're going to do the same thing with the yellow. Again, making sure that there's enough pigment there. All right, now we're going to take our white pencil. We're going to start over here with the light. And other than blending it out for the white spot, I don't feel that it blends those edges together as nicely as I would like, and as nicely as you can with the pencils themselves. So again, one of my best options, or one of the best things for you to do with colored pencils, and it all depends upon the brand as well, is to blend them with the color pencil itself. Just going to blend this here with the colored pencil right into that yellow line, softening the line and giving us that blend. So as you can see, it's a lot easier to do it with that and give us that soft blend than it is to try to mash it together with a blender or even with a white pencil. The white pencil didn't do as starkly as the blender. Let's just take a look at the Derwent blender. Just going to make sure I have it cleaned off. And we'll see if we can move that a little bit better with the Derwent blender, which is a more for an oil-based pencil. It's a little bit grittier and picks up a little bit more of the pencil and moves it around. Okay, so I think the Derwent blender is working a little bit better on this paper than the Caran d'Ache did. We will see here in just a minute after I dust off any excess. Yeah, I think that blended it a little bit smoother into each other. So I would suggest using the Derwent blender instead of the Caran d'Ache. Now currently the pencils are on sale for $10.99, which is 31% off. It does work out to be about 15 cents a pencil, which is really, really good. Like I said, they blend very nicely. I was able to get the tricolor blend there of the red, orange, and yellow, as well as the highlights and lowlights there. And the colors are pretty. And that is what we are using for this week. We are going to be coloring in the Draw Me in Your Mind. I think that's what it is, or Draw You in My Mind. Coloring book. It is a Korean coloring book. So we will be continuing with this tonight during Monday Night Live. So today it is time for Art Matters, because your imagination can change the world. This is a book written by Neil Gaiman, illustrated by Chris Riddell. And yeah, I have been coloring this now for almost 2 years. And I am going to color every single page in this book, and then I'm going to be sending it to a friend. And you guys get to join me on that journey. Today's page is this one here. It says, and remember that whatever discipline you are in, whether you are a musician or a photographer, a fine artist or a cartoonist, a writer, a dancer, a designer, whatever you do, you have one thing that is unique. You have the ability to make art. And for me and for so many of the people I have known, that's been a lifesaver, an ultimate lifesaver. It gets you through good times. It gets you through the other ones. And of course, we've got our other ones right here. So we are going to do our friend here. First, we're going to start off with a lovely gray. So we're going to start off with number 70. And I'm just going to color into the words a little bit here. Same with down here. All right. And this is just a base coat. This is a reading book. This is not a coloring book. So you will find with some pencils that the pages don't take as much color as they do with other pencils. So be careful of that if you are coloring along and you have the paperback copy. If you have the hardcover, you have a little bit more tooth to play with. However, you are missing a chapter from the softcover book. I don't know why they chose not to put it in the hardcover, but they did. All right. And I'm just base coating. I'm just very lightly or very inconsistently covering his robe. All right, and then we're going to take our dark gray, and I'm going to sharpen it. We're going to lose the book. We have one chapter left in this book, so it will be finished this year, probably in the next month or so. And then I will send it off to somebody, since she got me started in it. She knows who she is. All right, so I've got the dark gray, and I'm just going in to those shadow areas that Chris has put in. Now, like I said, this is a reading book, so all of these things are colored with sketch. So all of those lines are areas that he expects to be dark. right. So I'm using the dark gray for my mid-tone. And of course I'll use a black for the dark tone. Using that light gray for our highlights. I'm just putting in folds of his cloak. Like so. All right. And then we're going to take our black and we're going to do the same thing, darkening up a lot of those areas, leaving some highlights in there. Like so. I'm just going to extend that out a little, joining those two areas together so it doesn't look so strange. All right. Like so. Now, of course, Neil Gaiman is a very famous writer, and he has many different books out there that are very insightful, as well as um, self-preserving. And he talks a lot about the different things that society puts in our way as people, as artists, as entrepreneurs, as just people trying to make a go of it. It is one of a friend of mine's favorite writers. All right. Okay, so there we have his cloak. This one's going to be quite simple to complete. Now we're just going to go through here with some cream tone. so. A little bit of white for his teeth. Black for his shadows. And then we're going to do his hand. So we're going to start with number 7. Then we're going to do number 6. Now, because this is a writing paper, I am going the opposite direction than I normally do. I'm putting down the lightest color first, going into our mid-tones, and then into our shadow tones, because the paper does not hold a whole lot of color. And if you run out of room or run out of tooth, it's easier to put in a dark color just by going a little bit darker than it is to put in a light color. Alright, now we're going to go with number 8. Like so. And there we have his hand. Now we're going to take our red that we used for and then a touch of a wood tone here. And there we have our other. So again, it says, and remember that whatever discipline you are in, whether you are a musician or a photographer, a fine artist or a cartoonist, a writer, a dancer, a designer, whatever you do, you have one thing that's unique. You have the ability to make art. And for me and so many of the people I have known, that's a lifesaver. The ultimate lifesaver. It gets you through the good times and it gets you through the other ones. And that is our time for today. Next week we will be doing this one here. And that will be the end of this chapter. The next chapter is called Make Good Art. I'm Serious. And we will be going through that chapter as well. All right, guys, this is a Matters Monday. Art, because art matters and because your imagination can change the world. So the hashtag for this book is hashtag Matters Monday. And then it has 2022 and 2023. So if you want to see all of these being colored on the channel, you can do it that way by looking it up for the past Mondays. All right, we will be doing Monday Night Live, and we will be continuing on with our, I call it Alice in Wonderland's bouquet. But we will be continuing on with this page. We will be working on the bouquet tonight in, of course, the Mad Hatter's hat with the painted white roses. We will try to make them a little paint looking. As well as the white rabbit, his little watch, and of course the playing cards. All right, guys, with that, I would like to say thank you all very much for watching. I hope this has been a little bit of education on the Soucolor colored pencils. Again, their order is not very nice when it comes to number order, so I will be at some point going through and putting them in proper color order. I just haven't gotten around to it, and for me, putting them away, it's a lot easier to go from 1 to 72. They do move with water a little bit. They do smudge a little bit as well. They do a 3-color blend quite nicely, as well as the rainbow blend. I did find that the blender that blends them best is the Derwent blender, which is a bit of a harder blender. White did quite nicely as well. However, I did have to add a little bit of color blending between the yellow and the orange, so it didn't do it completely. They are $10.99 currently on sale for 31% off, which does work out to be approximately 15 cents a pencil, which is quite a nice buy for this set of pencils. They are very nicely pigmented. They do color quite nicely, and they do blend very nicely together. All right, guys, with that, I would like to say thank you all very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this segment of Art Matters, as well as the information on the Soucolor colored pencils. Always remember to like, comment, and subscribe to any YouTube artist that you enjoy. And always remember to relax, color, and stay safe, everyone. Until next time, bye-bye for now.